President, shall we begin?
Yes.
Good day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to our 415th meeting. I will begin by reading our club mission. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Since this is a Zoom meeting, your moderator, Kajitan Barreto, will mute or unmute participants as required. If you need to speak, please click on the raise your hand icon on your screen and I will unmute you when required. Also, I appreciate if you are seated in a quiet room, free from disturbance and connected to the internet. Assuming you are at your home, you would know the entry and exit and where the washrooms are located. In the event of a fire, please leave this meeting and run to safety. With this, I hand over to our President, Toastmaster Priscilla.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kajitan, for starting our meeting on time and for reading the club mission and the rules, the ground rules. Challengers, co-challengers, fellow Toastmasters, dignitaries, Toastmaster guests, and guests from around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and Eid Mubarak to those celebrating Eid. From wherever you're joining us, a warm welcome to our 415th meeting, a milestone meeting. Present here in the room is our Club Growth Director, DTM Alka Kumra, DTM Alka. I would like to request DTM Alka to say a few words before we begin our meeting. DTM Alka.
Good evening. Thank you, President Toastmaster Priscilla. I was not being able to unmute myself. That's why I took some time. But I'm really happy to be with Kuwait Challengers for their 415th meeting, a real big milestone. I'm happy to have been with them on quite a few major milestones in the last 3-4 years since I was the area director for the area that had Kuwait Challengers in that. And I am also very happy that this meeting has a special milestone in it. Not only the meeting part, but a member is achieving a milestone as well. This member he was perhaps the first Kuwait Challengers Club member that I met as area director some four and a half years back. And I'm really happy to see him progressing and achieving a milestone ACG today. So all the best to Kuwait Challengers and all the best to Toastmaster Aravind Babu. Back to you, President.
Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Alka, for those beautiful words. And thank you for being with Kuwait Challengers all these years and for all your support that you have given Kuwait Challengers Toastmasters Club. I would have loved to introduce each and every one present in this room, but if I have to do that, then I would be spending the next 2 hours, the time allotted for our meeting, in just introducing Toastmasters and guests in this room. So please feel welcome to rename yourselves and introduce yourselves as to which district you come from or which club you belong to. That will give us a self-introduction of yourselves. Thank you for joining us today. And it's a pleasure to have so many join this meeting. With this, I would like to call this meeting to order. Today we have with us DTM Rich Hopkins. Thanks to the online meetings and his quest to visit every district, Toastmaster District, of course. And so we grabbed the opportunity. I know there was a little bit of a chaos in District 20 on having Kuwait challengers grab the DTM Rich. But here he is for the district and for everybody, whoever is here on this at this meeting. So we took him as our District 20 keynote speaker, and we are looking forward to being enriched with his experience. You may have heard me say this is a milestone meeting, and indeed it is. Today, one of our prominent members is graduating at Toastmasters International, and a very proud moment for us Kuwait challengers. Now, this meeting is his final ACG project, and in approximately 2 hours, we shall crown him Distinguished Toastmaster. Now, taking up the role as the Toastmaster of the day, tonight is the gentleman that any Toastmasters club would like to have him as their member. A dedicated Toastmaster since 2007. Currently the VP membership of Kuwait Challengers Toastmasters Club, was dragged into Toastmasters by Toastmaster Abraham George, and repeatedly dragged into Toastmasters by the founder of Kuwait Challengers Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Peter Banerjee, primarily to help him with his communication skills. Toastmaster Aravind Babu rightly took up his Toastmasters journey. As it is said, at your own pace. And in doing so, he has enriched his personal and professional life. He is an assistant sales manager by profession, specializing in the sales of office automation equipments at Al Mullah Group. With a big round of applause, please welcome Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Aravind Babu, on his final ACG project, How to Conduct Productive Meetings. Toastmaster Aravind Babu.
Thank you, President Toastmaster Priscilla, for that introduction. Champion Toastmasters and champion guests from Kuwait, the GCC, and all over the world. Welcome to Championship Speakers Meeting conducted by Kuwait Challengers Toastmasters Club in Kuwait. Yes, I addressed you all as champions. As Muhammad Ali rightly said, champions aren't made in the gym. Champions are made from something they have deep inside them, a desire, a dream, a vision. You are a champion today. Despite the stress that this pandemic has caused for all of us, you are all here with a desire a dream, a vision, a to learn from the championship speaker. I am Toastmaster Aravind Babu, your host or Toastmaster of the day for tonight. My project today is to explain productive Toastmaster meeting. I decided to approach this project from a practical perspective. Instead of telling you what a productive Toastmaster meeting should be, I'm going to show you what a productive Toastmaster meeting look like. Any productive meeting has these ingredients: prepared speeches, special workshop or learning segment, impromptu speeches, evaluation. I have assembled a top-notch team that will demonstrate each segment for those fortunate enough to be with us tonight. Before I introduce the team, how about a little game? Our moderator will run a quick poll as quick as 10 seconds. All you have to do is vote. So, the first question is, when was the first official meeting of Toastmaster International held? Wow, that was. Let us wait for moderator give the result. It's at 10 seconds. Yes, your time up. Now it is 86% for October 1924 was correct answer. Wonderful. Well done. Now, the best team comes from people who are working independently toward one goal in unison, said James Cash Penny. And today, I am honored to introduce those amazing people who work independently towards the success of this meeting. First up, it is an honor, privilege to introduce moderator, poll launcher for today, area director, Toastmaster Kajitan Barreto. He is the epitome of discipline and excellence, dedicated. Toastmaster Kajitan, can you introduce yourself and your role today in today's meeting?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. As your moderator, my job is to oversee the technical side of the meeting, launch the polls, help you to select the best table topic speaker, and generally keep things running smoothly. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kajitan. May I now introduce the timer for today's meeting. Representing Smedley Bahrain Toastmaster Club, he is VP Education, IT professional from Bahrain, Toastmaster Prabodha Sarangi. Please explain the timing rules and your roles. Toastmaster Prabodha Sarangi.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for a nice introduction. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My role as the timer is to keep time for all the speakers to ensure that everyone speaks within their allotted time slots. This will also help in ensuring that the meeting runs on time. To help me do this, I have an on-screen timer application thanks to Toastmaster Kajitan. Time allocated for prepared speech are 5 to 7 minutes. The green signal is on at 5 minutes. The yellow signal is on at 6th minute and the red signal is on at 7th minute. The time allocated for workshop is 25 to 30 minutes. The green signal is on at 25th minute, yellow signal is on at 27th minute, and red signal is on at 30th minute. Table topic speech are 1 to 2 minutes. The green signal is on at 1 minute, yellow signal is at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red signal is at 2 minutes. Speech evaluations are for 2 to 3 minutes. Green signal is at 2 minutes, yellow signal is at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and red signal is at 3 minutes. The speaker also be granted a grace period of 30 seconds on either side of the speech. I will present my report when called upon by the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you, and back to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prabodha Sarangi, for the introduction. Next up, it is my pleasure to introduce the General Evaluator. He joined in Toastmasters in 2013 and has created things from paper plane to integrated chips. His hobby is programming, and he earns his livelihood by managing people in few companies. He has been a member of numerous Toastmaster clubs, served at various levels, and is the VP Education of May Springs Toastmaster Club in Kuwait. Please welcome DTM Noor Muhammad. DTM Noor Muhammad, kindly explain your role.
Greetings, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests from all over the world. The purpose of today's General Evaluator is to evaluate everything that takes place throughout the meeting. During the meeting, I will take notes on everything that happens and doesn't happen. I'll evaluate each participant on the meeting program and look good for examples of preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, and performance of duties. I have a team of role players along with me who will be conducting the evaluation session. It's at, if you look at the agenda, it will be after the table topic session at 9:20 today. So on my team are the prepared speech evaluators, the grammarian, and the accountant. I'll be introducing the grammarian who will be explaining her role today. I'm delighted to welcome our grammarian, TM Flexia Delavine, all across the globe from United States of America. She's a relatively new Toastmaster who joined in March officially. She's a medieval reenactor, the roller coaster enthusiast, and a huge fan of music. She's currently living in Erie, Pennsylvania, United States, with her 2 kids and fiancé. Please make some noise and warmly welcome Toastmaster Flexia Delavine, our grammarian for today. The screen is all yours, Flexia.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, thank you very much again for having me as your grammarian today. So my job today is to bring a new word, and we are to expand our vocabulary with that word. So today's word is replescent. Repliescent. I do apologize. Apparently I am stumbling on my words. The meaning of it is beautiful. It is an adjective. So my job today is to count how many times that word is used throughout the meeting. Thank you very much for having me again, and I turn you back over to our general evaluator.
Thank you, Flexia, for that short introduction of your role. And please make sure all of you use the word of the day as much as you can. The next role player I would be introducing is our counter. I'm glad to introduce our counter for today's meeting, Toastmaster Tejasvi Menon. She's a business analyst by profession and has a background in IT sales and consulting and IT help desk too. She loves cooking.
Thank you, General Evaluator.
Yep, you're
My
welcome.
role today is that of an R counter. Like in life, after every sad moment, there is a filler phase, and then comes a happy moment.
Yep. Toastmaster Tejasvi, could you please explain your role as an accountant?
Hello, can I speak now?
Yeah,
Yes,
please
please
go ahead.
continue.
Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My role today is that of an R counter. Well, I shall keep track of the words that you might use just to buy time during your speech or probably your presentation, like small pauses here and there where you might be lost in your thoughts. So, just to make ourselves perfect, I'd be preparing a report and presenting a same at the end of the session during the general evaluation. Thank you so much, and let's have an hour less meeting if possible. All the best to all of you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tejasvi. She was so enthusiastic that I couldn't even finish introducing her. She loves cooking, cartoons, cricket, watching travel, food-based shows. She's a people's person with strong principles. She believes that hard times in life are often like fillers between the joys of life. And we believe that she could make a perfect accountant for today. So thank you, Toastmaster Tejasvi, for your role today. And I will be back in the evaluation session with my team of role players, and I would also give my report at the end of the day. Thank you all. Over to you, Toastmaster Aravind Babu.
Thank you, DTM No, for that wonderful introduction for you and your team. Words have incredible power. They can make people's hearts sour, or they can make the people's hearts sour. Dr. Mardi wrote. We now enter the prepared speech segment of our meeting. Our speaker tonight calls herself the sugar goddess. Don't get me wrong, she is not sweet at all. On the contrary, she is strict and seeks perfection everything she creates. A cake artist by profession, and she believes that life is like a cake with the layers of goodness, filled with sweetness, topped with cherry. She has been a Toastmaster for 2 years, 6 months, a Triple Crown holder, a division champion at International Speech Contest, and now pursuing her second path in Pathways, striving to become a DTM soon. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our speaker tonight, Toastmaster Priscilla Diaz. May I call upon her evaluator, a DTM Rich Hopkins, our guest and keynote speaker, to read out her objectives all the way from USA.
Absolutely. The purpose of Priscilla's speech today is for her to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and then apply that feedback to a second speech. The entire purpose is simply for her to be able to learn how to take evaluation and apply it in the future.
Thank you, DTM Rich, for the objectives. Toastmaster Priscilla, baby, I love you. Baby, I love you, Toastmaster Priscilla.
Baby, I love you. For those of you who have heard my speech, honey, I love you. I know are right now wondering, what is all this? And saying to yourselves, oh no, not again. But hear me out. You will remember this one. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. On 24th January 1999, I gave birth to our firstborn, our son Sean, who in the first 5 years of his life was inseparable from his mother. That's me. The hugs, the kisses, the I love you, Mama, are unaccountable. It was tradition for him to feed me from his plate. One morsel, Mama. He would anxiously look out for me when it got dark outside, knowing very well that I was returning home from work. And we spent nights after nights sleeping while sitting up straight when he had bouts of asthmatic attacks. When our daughter was born, he made place for her, sharing the hugs and kisses, and together they grew up loving each other. Years have passed. Our son, a 21-year young, handsome gentleman, like his father, made it all the way to Penn State University in the United States to study engineering. A proud moment for us. However, amidst all this growing up and becoming independent, the hugs, the kisses, and I love you, Mama, trickle down, such that today I can number them on my fingers. Not just on his part, but mine too. I got busy with life and forgot our son needed a hug, a kiss, and most important, to hear the words, baby, I love you. In March this year, the world as we know changed forever when the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus a pandemic. And in a matter of seconds, borders shut down all over the world. Sean's university announced that students should go back home. And we did our best to ensure that he was on the right flight back home. But he did not make it out, as all the flights to India were grounded by then. Sean is all alone in his apartment in the United States, filled with fear and anxiety, eagerly waiting to fly back home. At times, he feels he has been left alone. He says, Mom, I'm all alone. With anguish, I cry, baby, I love you. I'm with you. And in anguish, he replies, love you, Mom. Miss you. It took lockdown, stay-at-home orders, and shutting down of borders for us to come back to say the three most important words. Now I call him every 2 hours. We talk. I sleep when he sleeps, whispering a prayer, baby, I love you. I'm there. He calls me when it gets dark outside, and we talk for hours. Hours, what we will do when we meet. Fix Legos. Yes, it's been a while. And we pray that this pandemic will soon come to an end so that we can be together again. The only consolation here is that we all, the whole world, is trapped in this pandemic. You all have said, I love you to your loved ones over and over again during these last few weeks. You have. Then I ask you, why did it take lockdown, stay-at-home orders, and shutting down of borders for us to express our love? Why did it take a pandemic such as this to remind us of what is important in life? Why did we take our relationships for granted? Ladies and gentlemen, place your hand on your heart and tell me the weight you bear on those frail arteries. I feel your pain. While we make haste to go on with our lives that will never be the same, let us not forget, or rather let us remember not to wait until the next pandemic to say, baby, I love you, but to say it every day, as long as we can say. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priscilla, for that thought-provoking speech. You looks resplendent with that outfit with the small little flowers on that. Well, Toastmasters and guests, your feedback you can give within 60 seconds to Toastmaster Priscilla in the Zoom chat box. If you are up for another poll question, here it goes. We'll go for another poll question, please. Who is the founder of Toastmaster International? You have time, 10 seconds now, start. Thank you. For the polling, 94%. Wow. Of course, Ralph Smedley. Very nice question. Easy question, I guess. Now for the most awaited segment of today's session is educational segment. While he is the best known competitive speaker Rich first district first place trophy was in evaluation contest. And he has used evaluation techniques from Toastmasters as a cornerstone of his professional presentation coaching for the last 15 years. Today, he will be sharing his experiences with the best and the worst practices of evaluation. To guarantee your next evaluation is a hit with the crowd, and especially the speaker, our keynote speaker has embarked on a challenge to speak and evaluate within all 120 districts in Toastmasters. A two-time finalist in World Championship Public Speaking, president of Professional Presenter Toastmasters Club, Speak Club VPPR. He is also a DTM, a TEDx speaker, an author, and a father of 6. With a round of applause, please welcome DTM Rich Hopkins from Broomfield, USA.
We all get evaluations in Toastmasters. And we all know when we've gotten a great evaluation, and we know when we've gotten a terrible evaluation. We don't always know exactly why. We don't always know exactly what we should do. We always fear getting up there and giving an evaluation that then later is going to be identified as one of those terrible evaluations. So today, we're going to find out how we can give stronger evaluations, evaluations that can become championship style evaluations if you want to be in a contest, but even more importantly, evaluations that help create championship speakers, because that's always our goal, to create a better speaker with the evaluations that we give them. Can we create a better speaker? And also, can we get them to be enthusiastic about signing up to give the next speech? Because that's always the big issue. Can we get enough speakers for next week's meeting? Well, if we're giving bad evaluations, it's tough to get those speakers to want to sign up. So we want to give strong enough evaluations that are positive enough that they will sign up again. Bottom line is we want to make sure we don't give evaluations. Oh, see, now why is that stink? Now, this is my first time. I'm going to make sure I don't give a sharing the screen presentation that stinks, because I've never tried to share my screen on Zoom before. So you guys get to be the first. The key with evaluations that don't stink. Let's start with the very first one. The very first evaluation is usually the most common evaluation that is given, and it's given by people who are usually brand new, although I've seen some veteran Toastmasters do it when faced with a speaker that is just amazing. So now here in Colorado, we call this a whitewash. Got snow all over your face, get yourself all freezing cold. I grew up in Iowa, and I used to get whitewashes from my friends at recess all the time. Well, a whitewash feels good, but it's terrible. I mean, it feels good because it gets cold, but in an evaluation, it feels good because it's nothing but compliments. It's nothing but telling the speaker how great they are and how hard it was to evaluate them, and that they're just the best speaker you've ever seen, and you couldn't possibly come up with anything that could help them. Well, guess what? If you're telling them you can't come up with anything that will help them, you are not being helpful, because that speaker is sitting there in their chair thinking, you didn't see this, you didn't see that. Why would I believe everything positive you're saying if you're not even seeing what I see that is so obvious about how I messed up in my speech? So avoid giving a whitewash. And I'm going to talk to you later on about how we can avoid giving a whitewash, even if we're a brand new Toastmaster, giving our first evaluation. Second, this is the rewind button. We've all heard this. The evaluator gets up and basically rewinds your speech to the very beginning and spouts your entire speech right back to you. You talked to us about this, and then you told us about this, and then you brought up this, and you used these gestures. And without actually telling you anything, they've simply told us again what you told us in the first place. That means, again, they're kind of trying to get past the whitewash stage, but they aren't quite there yet. They are trying to show you that they listened. Well, we're impressed that you listened, but we'd be more impressed if you tell us what you heard that you might want us to improve upon. The third terrible evaluation isn't necessarily a terrible evaluation, but it's not the best approach to take. This is all the criteria that is now in the pathways system of Toastmasters. And it can be really easy for someone to just look at the sheet and go up and down each goal that is there and tell you how you did. Unfortunately, this doesn't necessarily make it specific to your speech. It doesn't touch on aspects of organization or of your effectiveness in getting your idea across. There are a lot of things that are missing here, and it's really easy to give an evaluation using simply the criteria that becomes a, did they do it well or did they do it poorly, without actually giving them any explanation beyond that. So while this is a great guide, it is not necessarily your script. The relay evaluation. They've just given their speech. It's a wonderful speech. You're the evaluator. You take the baton and you give your speech because you went to France as well, just like they did in their speech. And so you're going to give your speech about when you went to France. Instead of actually talking about their speech, you're so inspired by their speech that you decide to give a brand new one of your own. Well, guess what? That is not an evaluation. That's just you continuing on. So please avoid that. And don't tell me you haven't heard that in the past. And worst of all, the wrecking ball speech. When somebody comes up and is so full of themselves and how good they are at evaluation that they totally destroy your speech, they find so many points of improvement that they forget to be positive in any way, and they leave you feeling like you're the worst speaker ever and you should probably never get up again. I've seen these evaluations. I know early on I occasionally borderline gave evaluations like this. This is a risk that we take in Toastmasters, both as iconic individual songs was Imagine. And I won't sing because I'm not a good singer. But the point is, the second part of your evaluation, as opposed to being, I didn't like it when you did this, which is never the right approach, consider saying, imagine if you had done this instead. Imagine that your gestures were a little bit less pronounced. Imagine that you told the story with more dialogue. Imagine that you gave us a little bit more reason for the point that you were trying to share. Giving them something to imagine gives them an idea that they didn't do something wrong, but that they could do something more, or they could do something different. So imagine is a very powerful, positive word. If you'd like to think of it as what if instead, what if you had tried this? What if you had tried that? That works as well. Take responsibility. And this goes in both ways. You take responsibility as an evaluator for what you're saying. And as a speaker, you have to take responsibility for how you take that evaluation. That means you take responsibility for what you saw as an evaluator. I saw this. I'd mentioned this before. It's all from your perspective. I saw your speech in this way. I think this. I think that this worked for you. I think you might try this next time. I felt. Because guess what? Somebody's speech might make you feel differently than the person next to you or the person in the other Zoom square as we have today. I felt this way about your speech. And I guarantee when somebody's having a speech that may have something controversial in it or something emotional, like the speech we heard today, that different people are going to feel different things. And as a speaker, how you feel about their evaluation is very much your responsibility. You need to think about, are you feeling a certain way because of who's evaluating you, because of what they said, or because you agree or want to fight back? What are your feelings when you get evaluated? And then I believe. Well, it's great that you believe something, but just because you believe something doesn't make it true. I can talk about somebody's gestures and tell them they should do it a different way, but that doesn't mean I'm absolutely right. Despite my years of experience, it might not be right for them. It may not be right for that speech. It may not be right for that culture. I believe this could work, but I could be wrong. And the speaker receiving the evaluation has that same responsibility as well. Well, I believe that will work. I believe that won't work. Essentially, the speaker still is the one responsible for whatever they give in the speech. And when they give the speech next time, what evaluation they accept, what evaluation they reject is their responsibility. Why? Why are we telling somebody something? Well, I said at the beginning of this, we want them to want to get up and speak again. But more specifically, in the evaluation, why didn't it work for you? If you're saying that I would use a different voice for this character, don't just leave it at that. Why would you use a different voice? Would it be more, do you think it would be more effective if it had an accent? Do you think it would be more effective if it was quieter? Because the accent they used or the voice they used bothered you. Maybe it's a gesture situation again, where you want them to change their gestures. I would try different gestures. Well, that's not enough. Why would you have them try different gestures? What did you see in their gestures? And what other gestures would you have them attempt? And that goes into the what if. What if you tried this instead? Make sure that they not only hear what you're telling them you liked and didn't like, but that they hear why you feel that way, why you believe that. And that way they have a better idea of how to accept that, how to then implement that if they choose to. Show them. Mimes don't talk, mimes show. Everything is visual. So if somebody is talking about climbing a rope, and this is a very simple example, but they just say, I was climbing a rope and it was so difficult. I couldn't believe my gym teacher, my physical education teacher made me do this. And you as an evaluator say, you know, it would have been nice if you had used a physical example of you climbing the rope. Well, that's not enough. As an evaluator, you would want to say, what if you showed us that you were climbing the rope and that it was tough and that you were angry and upset? And that way you actually show them what gesture you want them to use, what visual on their face should look like. If you're telling them that you would like them to use a different type of voice, well, what type of voice would you use? If they're saying, well, my mother was angry with me and I was sad. Well, that's great. But at the very least, if you want to tell them to show emotion, don't just say, you need to show more emotion. When you say that, demonstrate to them. And in this case, you're not a mime because you're going to actually use your voice. But my mom was so upset and I didn't know what to do. Then you've actually shown them what is in your mind as to having them do to better express what they are trying to express. So give examples, whether it's how they're using the stage, how they're using their gestures, what they're using in their voice, or even if you are thinking of a different example or a different way to use the example, express exactly what that is in the evaluation. Notes. We get a chance to give written notes because we only get 2.5 minutes, well, 3.5 minutes to give an evaluation. That's not long enough for most of us. For some of us, it's way too long. But for the rest of us, we have so many more notes that we could give them, and we need to write them down. Write them down after they've spoken, write them down after the meeting and send them along. Give a chance for yourself to talk to them after the meeting. That may be more practical in in-person meetings when we go back to that. But you should be able to provide them almost with twice as many notes that are written than you've been able to get out in an evaluation if you're really working and paying attention to what you're doing. Now, it's not crucial to the point that if you don't do it, that you're a bad evaluator. Look at it as an opportunity. You have an opportunity to help them so much more than just in that verbal evaluation. Finally, summarize. In that close of your evaluation, summarize what you said. If you're in a contest, you get points for the summary. And so many contestants forget the summary altogether. Usually they've gotten to the red light and they're just like, great speech, can't wait till next time, Mr. Toastmaster. Done that, heard that, not the best approach. Be prepared with that summary when you are giving that evaluation. That'll help remind the speaker of exactly what you've said. Now, want to go in? I don't see my timer here. I need to pin this timer. Oh, there's the timing. I think I must have plenty of time. And that's good because I want to talk about the special way of evaluating for contests. How do you get a trophy? Because, yeah, it's all about the trophy, right? Wrong. It's all about what you're giving the speaker. Oh, and guess what? It's also all about what you're giving the other people who are listening to the evaluation. Because in your club and in a contest, you have an entire audience. It shouldn't be just the speaker listening to you. We as an audience should be able to get something out of your evaluation as well. I mean, there's one thing to learn from your mistakes, but it's better if you can learn from other people's mistakes. So you listen to the evaluator, say what that person could have done differently, and then maybe you're able to apply it to your next speech as well. So when you're thinking about getting a trophy, make sure you're chasing the right trophy. And that right trophy is helping as many people as possible. And that way, if you don't leave your evaluation contest with a trophy, you know you've still both earned a trophy for yourself that may not be gold and metallic, or in this case, it looks like probably plastic, but you've given them each a trophy, something that they can take home with them from your evaluation. But okay, let's get down to actual brass tacks when it comes to competing. You're there, you've got 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10 other evaluators that you're speaking with. If you're first up, well, you got to be memorable because by the end, they're going to have heard so many evaluations, they may have forgotten about you entirely. So you better make a great first impression. Conversely, if you're at the end, you may think, well, I get to leave a great last impression, which is true, but you also have the responsibility to say something different. Because so far, maybe you've had 9 other people already evaluate. If you don't say anything new, the judges are going to be turning you off. They're not going to find anything different. It's just the way human beings are. They can look at the evaluation sheet all they want. They can try to be objective all they want. But unless you put in something new, something that stands out, you won't stand out as an evaluator. Make sure, of course, whatever you put in there is going to be a help for the speaker, not a help for you. But think about how you can stand out. And the best way I've always found out to stand out in an evaluation contest is to remember, again, it's all coming from my point of view. What ideas can I give them from my experience as a speaker that none of the evaluators would have? What have I learned from other evaluations? What have I learned from being up on stage? What have I learned from trying to use humor? What have I learned in any aspect of their speech that only I would have learned out of that group of evaluators? But also, how can I put it in such a way that would be separate from any of the other evaluators? And we all have our own personalities, our own styles. We all have our own stories. And when we put our experience into that evaluation, we can't help but stand out from everybody else, because frankly, most of the other evaluators, and you've probably noticed this, all the other evaluators except you are just doing the same old eye contact, gestures, I thought it was funny, or they're doing one of these bad evaluations. Now, probably not in Kuwait, probably not in your district. You guys are probably all already fantastic evaluators. But let's face it, we're all Toastmasters, we're all people, we're all at different levels of skill, and the whole point is to get better. How can we raise the bar? And part of raising the bar is finding a way to make ourselves different from everybody else, whether that's by going from a beginning Toastmaster to a middle range Toastmaster, to an experienced Toastmaster, to a champion Toastmaster. I'd already mentioned that you want to use the strong summary. So I want to also mention that what I personally have found, because it's a strength of mine, is that if you're able to use humor in your evaluation, if you get the audience laughing, if you get the speaker themselves laughing when you give them an evaluation, you have connected with that audience. The audience knows that you're positive and well-meaning, and you're much more likely to leave that contest with a trophy. Because audiences love to laugh, and they love to feel like everybody's happy during and after an evaluation. I'm going to check one thing. Do you have any, I know we're going to do a Q&A later, but are there any questions on evaluations? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if the timer could tell me how much time I have to take questions.
No, question and answers will be another session. This is only the presentation.
All right. Well, I have been told that I can't take questions. So Kumar, I know you raised your hand. We'll have to wait until the end. If the timer could tell me what my time remaining is.
Approximately 4 minutes.
Approximately 4 minutes. So one of the questions that I usually get is that people are feeling like they aren't experienced enough to give an evaluation, that they don't know enough to help somebody. Now, here's the thing. I've gotten hundreds, maybe even thousands of evaluations in the 20 years that I've been a Toastmaster. And some of the most valuable have come from brand new Toastmasters or from Toastmasters who are outside of Toastmasters. I say Toastmasters, they're not even Toastmasters. They're Toastmaster guests. They're people who have just shown up, perhaps to critique my contest speech, or they're family members of other Toastmasters that are there for that meeting. Because when we speak, we're not just speaking to Toastmasters in the real world, we're speaking to the real world, the regular world. And getting feedback from anybody at any experience level is valuable, because most of the people that we're speaking to are going to be at completely different levels of speaking experience than we're going to find even within our Toastmasters club. So finding out how anybody feels about our speech is important. And sometimes that new Toastmaster or that stranger from outside Toastmasters can say just the right thing, can inspire just the right thought to help you change your speech. So never just disregard somebody's opinion because they aren't a DTM or they aren't an experienced contest speaker or they aren't even in Toastmasters for more than 6 months. Anybody who has something to say could potentially have something valuable to say, which means you as an evaluator at whatever experience level you're at, your opinion counts, your perception counts. And at the end of the day, it's up to the speaker to take or to disregard what it is you have to say. So never feel that you can't give an evaluation. It's your duty, it's your responsibility to get up and share your perception, even if it is uneducated. There's no such thing as uneducated. You've heard people talk. You've listened to speeches before. You have an opinion. You have an idea. And as long as both the evaluator and the speaker have an understanding that your evaluation is simply your perspective and that you're coming from a point of view of supporting that speaker, your evaluation is going to have value for the speaker and for the club. Again, keep in mind as an evaluator, your ultimate goal is always to help the speaker. If the rest of the audience gets help, that's fantastic. You've given them that opportunity. And ultimately, you want that speaker to be so excited after you've given them your evaluation that they go right to the VP of Education or your sign-up sheet and sign up for that next speech as quickly as possible. Go out and evaluate anyway. Mr. Toastmaster.
That was a wonderful session by DTM Rich Hopkins from Broomfield, Colorado, USA. How championship speakers are made with championship evaluations was a wonderful workshop. Thank you, DTM Rich Hopkins. Thank you for your sharing the expertise and evaluations. We now know the importance of constructive evaluations and how to deliver a constructive evaluation. What I could get, I remember, don't do the evaluation just for the sake of the award. So that will be a materialistic one. So try to help the speaker. That is the real satisfaction. Ladies and gentlemen, DTM Rich will take the questions in question and answer session, which will be placed after this evaluation segment of this meeting. You can leave your questions with our moderator in the chat. Now, the time for another poll. The question, another poll coming up on your screen. In how many countries will you find Toastmaster clubs? Time starts now, 10 seconds. Thank you. The right one, 45%, 143 countries. Well done. 180 countries scored 40%. So its correct answer is 143 countries. So others, we learned something now today. Now for the fun segment. our table topic segment. To take us through these table topics is this eminent personality whose purpose in the life to live his life as a true example for his children. He is the present Division B Director and District 20 Club Growth Director-elect. He is also the President of Babco Toastmaster Club, which is Bahrain Petroleum Company Toastmasters Club, and VP Education of Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club, and the President of St. Paul Toastmaster Club. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome DTM Khalid Abdullah, all the way from Bahrain.
Thank you so much, Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Aravind, for the lovely introduction. Good evening, everyone. I'm sure all of us are having resplendent evening with so much to come. Yes, exactly, resplendent. Thank you for the Master of Ceremonies for making it easy for me. It's a fun session. I know some of the table topic masters, when they come and try to explain the role, they say it's the most challenging session of all. Well, yes, we are in Kuwait Challengers Toastmaster, but this does not mean that I should say this is the most challenging portion of the meeting. So for the benefit of the guests, table topics. Master, my role would be just to give a topic and then for you to come on the stage and remember to pin the timer and try to give a mini speech of 1 to 2 minutes. Very simple. Let's just have fun. Let's come over here. Let's make mistakes. I promise we won't let DTM Rich evaluate you. So it's no pressure. So may I have some hands on? I saw DTM's Ram hand was shining, the first one before even my session. So I'm not sure if it was that you want to participate or you had a question for DTM Rich, but since you were there, let me just unmute you.
Thank you. I would like to participate. Yes, why not?
Excellent, excellent. So let me just remind you, DTM Ram, just to pin the timer if you haven't done so. So I can share my screen and show you the nice questions about to be revealed for you. Done?
Yeah, done.
Excellent. So let me share my screen. DTM Ram, you need to pick a number from 1 to 6.
I would like to pick number 3.
Number 3. Excellent. That's my lucky number.
Thank you.
Your topic is, if you could take a single photograph of your life, what would it look like? I repeat, if you could take a single photograph of your life, what would it like? DTM Ram, stage is yours.
If I would like to take single photograph of me, what would be? Fellow Toastmasters, good evening. It would be the photograph that where I sweat, where my hands are soiled with the work, with the mud, with the hard work, when I sow the seed for a better future tomorrow. It could be a plant, a coconut plant, or a little seed, or a maize, or a grain, which give many fruits or grains or fruits that not today, tomorrow, everybody can reap and enjoy those fruits. Do you not agree? If you want to sow the seed that will help reap the benefits for everybody, we are all doing the same, consciously or unconsciously. I would definitely take that picture of the image that what I was before and what I am today and what I am going to be tomorrow in near future. Always I reflect before and aftermath of the incidents because I am health and safety professional. What it means, that picture speaks. Every picture speaks 1,000 words. How reckless we are. How improvised we can be with the awareness. As a Toastmaster, I feel be happy, not because everything is good, but because you can see the good in everything. Whether you sow seed today or not, but little things do matter. So overall, do your best. Make a difference. Think big. We are born for a purpose. Don't you forget. Back to Table Topic Master.
Thank you so much, DTM Ram. May I ask you to mute yourself? What a resplendent reply. Thank you. Let's have the second challenger, DTM Murli.
Good evening.
Good evening, DTM Murli.
How are you?
I am never better. Welcome to you. Can I remind you to pin the timer, DTM Murli?
Actually, I'm in a mobile. I'm unable to do that. You can just let me know. Yeah, I got the timer. Yeah, okay, good.
Okay, excellent. So let me share my screen so you can pick a number. Do you see my screen?
Yes, number 4.
Number 4. Your topic is, would you rather lose all your old memories or never be able to make new ones? I would repeat. Would you rather lose all your old memories or never be able to make new ones? DTM Murli, floor is yours.
Great. Past is past. Future is imaginary. Present is the gift. Old memories, there is no point in keeping or remembering the old memories. It is best to erase them because God has given us a new day, a new lease of life every day. So why to bother on something which has happened? Let's plan something for the future. Today is the best day for the rest of our life, they say. So it is better to erase all old memories and think about what we can achieve or what we can do for the future. Friends, time is immortal, but you cannot get back what has happened. What you can do is, it is like a computer, clean everything, start fresh, and then you have a lot of space in your computer to program and save things for the future. So coming to this point, I would love to erase all my old memories. I don't know whether I'm educated, whether I am into anything. Today, I'm a Toastmaster and I can learn something from today. Today, I am here and I can do something for the future. So forget even the COVID. Good days are ahead, and forget all your old memories and work for the future betterment. It's going to be splendid. It's going to be resplendent. With this, over to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, DTM Murli. I just remind you to mute yourself so we can move for the last commentator. I think because of time, we'll just take one more. And may I unmute Toastmaster Flexi? Our grammarian is eager to attend something new. Toastmaster Flexi?
Yes, I would like number 6, please.
Wow, that's even quicker than me picking that. Okay, can I remind you just to pin the timer if you haven't done so?
Yes.
Excellent. So number 6 is, your topic is, have you ever regretted something you did not say or do? I'll repeat. Have you ever regretted something you did not say or do? Toastmaster Flexi, floor's yours.
Thank you very much, Table Topics Master. And again, thank you very much for having me as your guest and grammarian. I have regretted a lot of things that I haven't said and a lot of things that I haven't done. But recently I had a chance to make something of that right. I had ended a relationship on very, very bad terms. And we had waited 5 years to be able to speak to one another. We couldn't even look at one another. And we finally had got to say things that we had not been able to express, because at the time that we had separated, it was just bad all around. There was a lot of things involved, a lot of things that were not able to be expressed in the correct way that needed to be done. I recently got back in touch with him and we were able to express everything that we wanted to and apologize, not only for our own behavior, but for the things that we did and said after everything had happened. But you know what? I do still regret those things that I didn't say when the time that I had them to say them, because at the end of the day, we're still friends and I'm grateful for that, but we let a lot of things get in between us. And something else that I can definitely learn to say that I wish I would have said, I wish every single day that I would have said to some of my best friends that are no longer with me, hey, I still love you. I care about you. I want you to be in my life. And because I haven't said that, some of them have passed on. I didn't get to say that to them before they passed away. But you know what? At the same time, I have said it out loud to them. Maybe they might not be here in person, but I'm sure somewhere they can still hear me, that I still do love them. I still do care about them. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm working on learning not to regret things that I have said or done, or things that I haven't said or haven't done. Thank you very much, Table Topics Master, for an excellent table topic, and I turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Flexi, for the resplendent reply. And well, you had the chance as a grammarian to use the word resplendent, but I think you haven't used it. Thank you so much, all the table topics commentators. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be your table topic masters. I hope you enjoyed the session. Wish you all the best. Over to you, Master of Ceremonies.
Wonderful. Thank you, DTM Khalid Abdullah, for wonderful table topics. You looks resplendent in the Disdasha of Bahrain. Very good. Good to see you. Well, I would like to ask a timer, is any disqualifications because of timing in table topic participants? You'll go for voting best table topics.
Yes. Good evening once again. There is a disqualification, only one disqualification. I already informed to moderator.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to request a moderator, please launch the poll voting for best table topics. Thank you for voting for the best table topic speaker. It is the time for the segment which encompasses a skill that's for the utmost importance in our daily lives. The evaluation segment. I would now call upon DTM Noor Muhammad to take over the stage to run the evaluation segment of this meeting. DTM Noor Muhammad, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests. Welcome again. Now, for the benefit of the guests, I would like to tell you what the evaluation session is all about. The evaluation session, with my team of evaluators, we're going to conduct. The first is the speech evaluator, then the grammarian will give her report as well as the accountant. Then finally, I would give my overall report on the general proceedings of the meeting. So let's jump right in and let me call the first and the only evaluator today, our resplendent evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Rich Hopkins, to evaluate Toastmaster Priscilla Diaz. So distinguished Toastmaster Rich Hopkins, the screen is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and of course, Priscilla. I love the fact that you are poised in a room that is resplendent with a Toastmasters banner and tons of ribbons. That's fantastic. I enjoyed the fact that you stood up to give your speech. What a great way to be able to give us a little bit more movement and more gestures in your speech. Thought it was interesting that you started your speech with a caveat about how we may have heard this speech before. Well, they always say never start your speech with an apology, but I don't know. I don't know how many times you've given this speech before, so maybe it was necessary. But I'm willing to bet you could have just gone forward and given us your speech, because what you did provide for us was a wonderful set of stories about your son and then a little bit on your daughter. You talked to us about how proud you are of both of them. And I thought you did a great job of description in terms of how your son would feed you, how this was a tradition. You showed us how you did that. I really enjoyed all that focus on your son growing up and displaying to us how you felt about him so that you could then contrast that with how you feel now during this time where you're separated, when he was or maybe still is unable to come home. An excellent way to present a very positive situation up against a negative situation and build our interest. I think it would have been interesting if you'd had a little bit more straight dialogue with him and yourself on the phone. You presented the dialogue where he says, "I feel alone." But before he said that, you told us, "My son feels so alone." He told me on the phone, "I feel so alone." We only need him on the phone telling you that he feels so alone. That's enough. You asked me specifically to look at gestures in your speech. I didn't see the forced gestures that you said you've been evaluated on before. I can tell that some of them are planned as opposed to naturally coming out of your emotion. If you can build those gestures to naturally come from your emotion, they won't look forced at all. If you really mean that they grew up, that's different than saying they grew up. See the difference between those two things. I like the humor that you try to use in terms of you call him every 2 hours, but you can build that humor up by saying, now I call him every week. Oh, heck, every day. Okay, actually, I call him every 2 hours. Build that to the level of exaggeration, and the humor will land harder with us. overall, I thought the point of your speech was great. We need to connect with the people we love and let them know we love them. If you can build a stronger argument for me as an audience member to realize I'm not telling people I love them enough, that will help your cause in getting that point across. Because the speech is worthy. You as a speaker are wonderful. You deliver the speech in a fantastic way. And I would love to hear this yet another time, no matter how many times you've given it. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Rich Hopkins, for that dogwood approach you have taken today. We've seen you implement what you have said. That's amazing to see you give an amazing evaluation for us. Thank you so much. Now, proceeding on to our grammarian, a very enthusiastic and sublime, glorious and gorgeous grammarian today. We have Flexia Delavine, who is going to give us the grammarian report. Flexia Delavine, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much for that resplendent introduction. I couldn't have given it myself. And yes, I did finally use my word. So we have used it a total today of 15 times. Now, in all the times that I've been grammarian, I've never actually had the word of the day used more than like 3 times in a session. So I am very proud to say that we have used it quite a bit more than I've ever had a word of the day used in any of my meetings that I've been in. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you for that very crisp, the most crispest of all grammarian reports I've ever seen. Thank you so much, Flexia. Moving on, we have our next evaluator, who is the YA counter for today's meeting. Please put your hands together and welcome Tejasvi Menon for our counter report. Tejasvi Menon, the screen is all yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Well, like I had wished in the very beginning, this meeting was an hour-less meeting. I got disconnected in the middle right after Toastmaster Priscilla's speech, but before that and after, when I got connected during the table topics, I found that we were hour-less. All of us were mostly perfect. So I'm a very happy Toastmaster today, but an unhappy hour counter. Over to the General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Tejasvi, for that very crisp counter report as well. Coming to my general observations for today's meeting, the first thing is about the whole meeting is about the setup. Preparation, preparation, and preparation. Give me 6 hours to cut down a tree. I'll spend 4 hours just sharpening the axe. Now, this is what Toastmaster Aravind Babu and his team of role players have done today. They have taken time to prepare for this awesome, amazing meeting. It is splendid to see so many faces here who have done exceptionally good job today. I will go chronologically according to the agenda, and I will speak about how we went through the whole meeting. The meeting started exactly on time, sharp on the dot, 8 p.m. plus 3 UTC. So that kudos to the Quit Challenges Toastmasters Club for doing it on time. I would also like to commend the Toastmaster of the Day for planning such a wonderful agenda. The structure of the agenda is clear. We could understand the flow of the meeting very clearly. What I would like, or I would love to see, is to explain this agenda to the audience. So the audience knows the general structure of the agenda so that they are aware what they're going to expect in the meeting. The president of the club started the meeting on time. She introduced the guests, and as rightly pointed out by DTM Rich, the banner was displayed. One thing I don't see in virtual meetings these days is the club banner. I miss it so much. So I was so delighted to see the club banner today with a lot of ribbons, colorful ribbons. And Toastmaster Priscilla took her time to introduce the guests as well. She also recognized the dignitaries in the house. So that's one thing which is always appreciated. And we had the moderator of today's meeting, Toastmaster Kajetan Berito. The more I speak about this person, I think the less I know about him. He never fails to astound me with his performance, with his word. His action speaks louder than his word, what he does. He is a man of little words, but more of action. So Toastmaster Kajetan Berito arranged everything what you see today. What we see as a sergeant at arms in regular meetings is done by the moderator in virtual meetings. So if you see all the setup, all the technical things regarding Zoom, it's all to do with Kajetan Berito, how he organized, assigned co-hosts, and how he had carefully planned all these things, including that small applause which we see after everything. That's amazing to see that. So that's wonderful to see Toastmaster Kajetan Berito do the good job. And we had Toastmaster Aravind. Now, Toastmaster Aravind walked that second extra mile. Apart from the traditional extra mile which people walk, he has taken that second extra mile today to complete his DTM journey. Now, I applaud Toastmaster Aravind because it shows his character in planning. And that's what we understand from all this, is this man can go that second extra mile. So thank you, Toastmaster Aravind, for this wonderful meeting today. And it would be a cardinal sin for me if I don't mention the other role players. Toastmaster, we had the timer. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. It's Prabodha Sarangi, right? Prabodha
Yes,
Sarangi.
right.
Amazing. Thank you, Toastmaster Prabodha. It's wonderful to see you adopt what Toastmaster Kajetan has invented. In fact, he has been a boon to Toastmasters community, and the timer's presentation is amazing. What I would love to see is you explain the time rules in advance. So if there is a, for example, DTM Rich presentation, he was unaware of his timing. So if you could tell him like you had 25, 27, and 30 minutes, and also like how DTM Abdullah was reminding all the speakers to pin the timer. So if you could do it, if you can just jump in, if somebody has missed it, and jump in and say that, please pin me. So it would be good. So I would have loved that way. So that's one wonderful thing. Coming to the grammarian, totally. Today, resplendent was an amazing word, a very good choice of word. I loved the word really today. And I'm so glad that many of you have used the word of the day. And I also liked the idiom what Rich has used, get to the brass tacks. Many people don't use that idiom anymore, but that is directly getting to the point. And Toastmaster Rich used it really well. So that's amazing. The R counter, a lady of very few words today. So she did a good job as well. What I would really love to see is giving an extensive report, or especially for the grammarian as well as the R counter. Today I missed that aspect, wherein the good usage, what were the good usage of English today? Many of us used good English today. So if the grammarian, if she could have given a report on what was a good usage of English and what was not so good usage of English, it would have been great. I would also have loved to see Toastmaster Aravind pass the scripts of the role players to all the role players, because there are scripts on Toastmasters website on each role. He could have given the scripts well beforehand, and that would have really prepared the role players to do a good job. So, but overall, the general feeling of today's meeting is amazing. Especially I love DTM Rich evaluation session. I've learned a lot. Even though I'm a Toastmaster for 7 years, I haven't encountered such good presentations. Especially I loved his presentation. Not many would understand from the images, but he made complete sense of the images what he has used in his presentation. So that's awesome presentation, Rich. I really love the way you have used those. It might be things which might be totally disconnected, but you have weaved them together into something meaningful, and you have stringed them all together, and you made a lot of sense today. So I love your presentation today. Thank you so much for gracing us today and helping all the Toastmasters around the world to give better evaluations, to help other speakers become champion speakers through evaluations. Thank you so much. And we had Priscilla Das giving us her very emotional speech. Love the speech today. And Table Topics Master, very smooth table topics. That's all I can say. Extremely smooth. Never seen such a smooth table topics anytime. Excellent job there. And with that, I think I've exceeded my time. I hand over the podium to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Aravind Babu. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, DTM Noor. I think you touched every corner of this meeting, and you given a wonderful general evaluation. I felt I'm just rewinding all the meeting today. Thank you, DTM Noor, once again for the general evaluation session. One last poll question before I hand over the stage to DTM Rich for the question and answers. On your screen now, how many times was DTM Rich Hopkins a finalist in World Championship of Public Speaking? Your time starts. Well done. It's 2 times. He is finalist in World Championship Public Speaking, 71% score. That's we learned a new thing. And now for the question and answer session. Moderator, do we have questions for our keynote speaker?
Yes, Toastmaster of the day, and I will try to, because it might take time to mute people and they might not be there, I will put them to keynote speaker DTM Rich in the order that I received. And the first question is a very interesting question from Sadiq Muhammad Jan, and it is similarly asked the same question in a different way by a Toastmaster Dinesh Kumar. And the question is to you, DTM Rich. If you are evaluating a great speaker and you couldn't find anything to mention, what would be the comment to mention as evaluation in such a situation?
Well, one of the things I failed to bring up in my earlier session is that you need to go to the speaker you're evaluating and find out not just what their objectives are based on the project, but based on what they are working on. They may be working only on the items in the project, but in particular for a great speaker, such as you're proposing in the question, they may have certain things they want you to look at. For Priscilla, she wanted me specifically to look at her gestures. So I made sure that I did that despite the fact that it wasn't necessarily a strong push in her overall evaluation. And so it'll make it easier to find things to talk about if you are aware ahead of time some of the things that that speaker wants you to address.
Thank you. And in fact, that is what you have mentioned, or also what Noor has mentioned, preparations, and that goes for evaluators too, if I am not mistaken.
Absolutely.
The next question is from DTM Ola Rashid, and her question to you is, what are the points that an evaluator can point out for a speaker and make him different from other evaluators?
It's not necessarily the point that differentiates you as much as how you present those points. You might, if you're talking about gestures and everybody's talking about gestures, what will make you different is what you're advising about those gestures. Perhaps you are suggesting that they try a different type of gesture, or they show the gesture in a different way, or that they don't use them at all. What is your experience with gestures that you can add to that evaluation that somebody else might not be able to add? Talking about vocal variety, using your voice. Maybe you have a talent for accents, and so you talked about a dialogue that was used in the speech and suggest that they use a different dialect, and you are able to demonstrate that. And one of the other evaluators or none of the other evaluators are able to point that out in that same way.
Thank you. The next question is from our Division F Director, Dr. Fatima Abdo. And her question to you is, what was your best evaluation you've ever given? Why was it the best one from your point of view?
Oh, wow. Well, I've given literally thousands of evaluations. I'm not sure I could actually go back and tell you and pinpoint which one was the best. I know the best evaluations I give are those where I have gotten the most information from my speaker as to what they're looking for. I know that sometimes my evaluations that I think are great and the speaker thinks are great, the rest of the club thinks are terrible because they may be overly critical. They may be more about content than delivery, but it's a great evaluation because it's what the speaker needed. It's what they asked for. And that's always key. The better prepared you are, the better an evaluation you're going to give. I wish I could go back and rank all my evaluations, but I don't think that's possible this morning.
Thank you. Toastmaster Dinesh has another interesting question for you, being a beginning Toastmaster, and he hesitates to evaluate senior Toastmasters. What recommendations do you have for Dinesh?
Your voice matters. Your opinion matters. The key is you can't say anything that's wrong. You might say something that is disagreed with. You might say something that they choose not to accept as a suggestion. They may even not accept your praise. I used to get evaluations all the time that started with, I can tell how much you worked on this speech, how many times you must have practiced it. And in my mind, I'm saying, you have no idea what you're talking about because I wrote the speech in my car on my way to the meeting. So your evaluation, your opinions have meaning, have weight, but it's not up to you how it's accepted or not accepted. It's only up to you to share how you feel and what you have perceived from that speech. Right or wrong isn't really a question.
Thank you, DTM Rich, for encouraging our new Toastmasters who want to evaluate but hesitate. Our next question is from DTM Murali Manohar, who is a Division E Director. And his question to you is, which speaker has come to you after he realized that your evaluation made him the best?
Nobody individually in terms of one person that has done that. I mean, at various times, various speakers have come up and told me how valuable the evaluation is, and that's always something that makes me feel good about giving the evaluation. I wish I could say that some world champion came up to me and said that I'd given them the best evaluation of their life, but that wouldn't be true. But I've had many, many Toastmasters come up to me and say, thank you. I've never gotten an evaluation that was as effective as that evaluation in my 1, 5, 10 years of Toastmasters, depending on how long they've been in. So, and I want to go back to the new Toastmaster. One of the other things that I mentioned in my initial presentation is that your perspective as a new Toastmaster is fresh. It's not going to be tainted by what you're expected to tell the speaker. You may come up with something that is just totally out of a different area of your brain than anybody else is going to use because we're so used to commenting on the same things. You aren't yet, which means you might just come up with that piece of brilliance that nobody in the room is expecting.
Thank you so much. And the last question I'll ask you, is from DTM Ram Kumar, who's a immediate past Division E director. And he asks you a question, whether we should be, is critical evaluation imperative, or we should go for constructive evaluation to build members' confidence rather than making it like a competition. What is your choice?
Oh, the only place you should be in competition is in a contest. And even that, you're not competing against other people. You're competing against yourself, because you can only control the speech you give, not the speech that other people give or the way the judges perceive it. When you look at the word critical, a lot of people see the word critical as a very negative word, and it means to tear down, to say negative things about what somebody has done. But in truth, being critical means being analytical, means taking a strong look at what has been done, understanding why it's been done, so that you can talk about how it might be done differently. It's difficult to truly make suggestions unless you understand why they did it the way they did it in the first place. So being critical takes critical thinking, not a critical mindset, not a negative mindset, but a critical constructive mindset. And if you're always in two ways being positive, you can be positive by saying how much you love something and how great somebody is, but you can also be positive in saying, I saw how you did this, and I thought, maybe, what if you tried it this way next time? Then you're being positive in both settings, in both parts of your evaluation. You're never saying, you did that wrong, you should do it this way. You are acknowledging what they did and suggesting other ways they can do it.
Thank you so much. And there are several questions in the chat box. Maybe you will have a look at it, or I can share with them later on. But you may end up with one interesting question from a general evaluator, DTM Noor. What were your worst moments as an evaluator? You're muted, DTM Rich.
Okay. Sometimes, we'll say early in my Toastmasters career, it was tough to really focus and listen to a speech. And when you go up and you give an evaluation, you say something that then when you sit down, or maybe after the meeting, a whole bunch of people come up to you and say, well, you know, they really did talk about that. They really did say that. And you feel really bad about yourself because you realize you got distracted. It's imperative that we listen well, that we take good notes. And it's always tough because you're listening and you're trying to take notes, but when you write down your notes, then you're suddenly not listening, because our brain cannot do two things at once. So we have to be very careful when we're an evaluator to make sure that we are totally in tune with what our speaker is saying so we don't miss things. I still miss things. I still worry that sometimes the idea that I came up with, I started writing about, took too much time away from me being able to focus on exactly what they're saying. But hey, we're only human. You go up there, you give your opinion, and as long as, again, what I said earlier is you and the speaker and the audience all have this understanding that you're there to be supportive, to create a champion speaker, and that it's solely your point of view, ultimately, you're going to be all right as an evaluator, and you're going to be able to provide something valuable.
Thank you so much. And with that, I hand over to our Toastmaster of the day.
I've shared in the chat my email if anybody has future questions. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for helping me out with this Q&A.
Thank you, DTM Rich, for answering our queries. And thank you, moderator, for forwarding all the queries to DTM Rich. To be a champion, you have to learn to handle stress and pressure. But if you have prepared mentally and physically, you don't have to worry, said Harvey Mackay. Each of us are in the same storm, but not in the same boat. So, amidst the battle against COVID-19, let's all be kind and considerate Let's continue to wash our hands, stay home, stay safe. It was a pleasure hosting this meeting with the objective of conducting a productive meeting with a great team. Now, I would like to declare the best table topic speaker for today's meeting. I'm just waiting from our election commission to declare for me the winner for table topic session is, drum rolls please.
Message. Please check your WhatsApp message.
I'm sorry for that. How many groups I got? Yes, I got the winner here. Drum rolls, I can't hear because everybody muted. It's Felixia Delvin, our table topics winner today. Congratulations, grammarian and table topic winner. With that, I, Toastmaster Aravind Babu, signing off as the Toastmaster of the day, President Toastmaster Priscilla. The screen is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Aravind. That was a splendid meeting that you took us through. A very productive meeting. Hats off to you for conducting your ACG project just the way it should have been. And I would like to take this moment to thank the role players who assisted you in making this a productive meeting. So thank you. A big thank you to all our role players, starting with Timer Pramod, Toastmaster Prabodha Sarangi, DTM Khalid Abdullah. Excellent, brilliant table topics, very well composed there. DTM Nur Muhammad. I don't want to repeat your GE report, but I still need to thank everyone. And I would love to thank you for that very detailed general evaluation there. And your team of evaluators, Toastmaster Flexia and Toastmaster Tejaswi. And of course, DTM Rich for the evaluation during the general evaluation. Yes, thank you to our keynote speaker for making this meeting very special. Thank you very much for your insight on how we need to evaluate. Today, everyone will agree here that we have learned something new. We have learned what it takes to do a constructive evaluation. As you said, being critical would mean to be analytical. So I'm sure we would not ever look at an evaluation as a critical evaluation moving forward, but look at it analytically. So a very big thank you to you, DTM Rich. I would also like to thank all the guests who have come here, who have attended today's meeting, our dignitaries who were here with us to make this a very rich, fulfilling meeting. I would like to take a couple of feedback, and I know we have quite a lot of members here, but I would like to unmute Toastmaster Panos here, who I would want to receive feedback on. Toastmaster Panos, could you please unmute yourself?
Thank you, Priscilla. This is such an honor to be given the platform to share my impressions using my voice, as Rich told us tonight. I want to echo back the statement from Noor's general evaluation that this meeting was tight in every good sense of the word, and it was also diverse. We had speeches, we had quizzes, we had all the elements that I tell you from my experience with attending meetings in Kuwait in particular, You have taken online meetings to a whole other level. And I have borrowed, if not best put, stolen a couple of your ideas for our meetings in Athens. And a final word for Rich in particular. Thank you so much for giving us the next point on the maturity curve. And the maturity curve is all about intentions. When we take the stage with the intention of offering service in the progress of the other speaker, then it's even a more relaxing, enjoyable, and successful experience for both of us. Thank you for highlighting that tonight. And I'm so thankful to have been among you one more time tonight, Sunday. Thank you. Back to you, Priscilla.
Thank you, Toastmaster Panos, for that feedback. And I liked that you echoed what you saw today in the meeting with the general evaluator and our keynote speaker. Thank you so much. DTM Alka, are you here? Okay, we have DTM Fatma Abdu here. DTM Fatma Abdu, our Division F Director. I would like to hear from you. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, Toastmaster Priscilla, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and all challengers in Kuwait Challengers Toastmasters Club. Thank you so much for this wonderful meeting. And it's always a pleasure that I always enjoy your meetings. I used to attend maybe a couple of times before when we used to meet in person. And this time, this is my first time to meet you online. I really enjoyed it. And thank you so much for bringing to us the world champion finalist, DTM Rich. We really got benefited a lot from his keynote speech, and all the role players, they did a great job. Thank you so much also for your wonderful speech, Toastmaster Priscilla. And also, I would like to thank and to congratulate Toastmaster Aravind for his last speech in ACG and DTM2B. Thank you so much, and over to you, Toastmaster Priscilla.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Thank you, DTM. Dr. Fatma Abdu. We love to have you at our meetings and we learn a lot from you. So we will see you at our online meetings too. I have one last feedback, if you don't mind. I would like our very first guest who came on to our meeting to give us his feedback. He's from District 47. I will not say the name because I'm very bad at pronunciation. So let us hear from you, please.
Hi, my name is Hugh Nguyen. I'm from District 47. That's Florida and the Bahamas as well. I enjoyed this meeting. It was very well run, very well organized. I've been to lots and lots of Zoom meetings. In fact, this is 35 days in a row of Zoom meetings for Toastmasters. So I've enjoyed every bit of it. And I even learned something new. So I enjoyed it, and thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for that feedback, Hugh. With this, I would like to just make one announcement. This is for Kuwait Challengers members here, and that is, rather two announcements we have. The first one is on the 29th of May, we celebrate our 18th anniversary of the club. And for this, we will be sending out a Zoom invite to come celebrate. This invitation is extended to everybody here. So please do come and celebrate with us. We will send out the invitation soon. The second announcement is that on the 1st of June, we will conduct our XCOM elections. Kuwait Challengers, please be there to elect your next leaders. With this, I would once again thank everyone here who has come to this meeting to make it such a wonderful experience for everyone. Thank you, DTM Rich, DTM Khalid Abdullah, DTM Noor Muhammad. Thank you, Toastmaster Arvind, for making this happen. And most of all, I would like to thank Toastmaster Kajitan Barreto, who, as Toastmaster Tabassum said, you people grabbed Toastmaster DTM Rich. That's not fair. So thank you for grabbing Toastmaster DTM Rich and making our meeting a wonderful meeting. Thank you once again. With this, I would like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for having me today. It was wonderful to be here.
Thank you, DTM Rich. Wonderful. Thank you.
Congratulations, Toastmaster Arvind. Now we shall call you DTM Aravind Babu.